Welcome to the 3% Podcast, the bi-weekly podcast brought to you by Open Letter and 3%. I'm Chad Post from Open Letter, joined as always by Tom Roberge from Riff Raff.
Hello.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. You hanging in there? I know that you're running the store by yourself for a couple months.
Yeah, little things pop up here and there, but, it's all basically under control. Although, yeah, a day off would be nice. That's all.
Yeah, wouldn't it, though? That'd be great, especially after being sick for so long. We have an idea for a podcast we're going to do today, but I have a couple of banter things first, I suppose. One is, I don't know if you looked at this essay that I sent you, but Matvey Yankelevich from Ugly Duckling wrote a long article for the Poetry Foundation called The New Normal, How We Gave Up the Small Press. That's about various funding. It says it's part 3 of this essay, so I need to go find... Or I don't know if this is part 3 or what. I don't know what's going on here, but I want to read the whole thing. And I think we should talk about this next episode. And I'm bringing it up now because I think other people might want to read it beforehand.
Wow, I didn't even open this. I'm sorry. But
I didn't think you would because I knew that you were busy. But it has a lot to do with funding for small presses, the sort of consolidation of small presses. There's a lot of graphs about how the graphs didn't print in this, but they're online. But there's ones of how the top 5 nonprofit presses took up 43% of NEA's funding last year. We are not one of those, by the way, just to put that out there. But there's a lot of interesting stuff related to AWP, funding for small presses, what a small press is, and how all that works. And I think it's something that would be really good to talk about. And I think people that are listening to this would be really interested in it. So I'm going to link to it and see if there's any other articles, because I'm confused by the first paragraph of this. But I think that this is just one. I think it's just one essay, but part 3 is one section within here. But I'll link to it and see if there's anything else, and then in a couple weeks we can talk about it. And I'm sure that other people will have read it and maybe had responses and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, my God, this is long. Huh?
It's super fucking long. I want to say it's 30 pages. Yeah, it's 30 pages printed, and that doesn't include any of the charts.
Wow. Okay.
But I saw it on Facebook and clicked on it and was like, oh, yeah, this is very curious. So here's the line that caught my eye first off. The top 5 grantees in the publisher category for the National Endowment for the Arts were as follows: Archipelago, Copper Canyon, Grey Wolf at $70,000 each, Milkweed at $60,000, and Coffee House at $55,000, a total of $325,000, which is 13% of the NEA's total budget for literary organizations and 48% of the grants given to all literary presses.
Yeah, I was scrolling through and I saw that represents only 2% of Grey Wolf's annual budget.
What the shit? What the shit? Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So I think this will be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's a good article to talk about. The other thing I want to say is that we always make fun of book people for making terrible names for their organizations, such as, I don't know, bookshop.org being one of the ones. Oh, just to check in with them. I think they're up to $6,000 now that they've raised. So, it's doubled since last time. The bookshop, there's always just bad names. But have you heard about the Houston Astros, the front office names that they came up for their sign stealing scandal? For anyone who's not a baseball fan, the Houston Astros cheated. They had this elaborate scheme to get signs of what the pitchers were going to be and relay them using a trash can. It's pretty funny. It's pretty wonderful. It's chaos for all of baseball for a while now, but they finally released this special information that the front office knew about it. Not only did they know about it, but an intern came up with a plan. And did you hear what they named it?
No.
They named it Code Breaking, and then they changed it from Code Breaking to Dark Arts.
Dark Arts?
So they named it they named it in a way and put it into hundreds of emails with the names that are basically this is bad activity. We're referring to what we're doing as a dark
something
art.
Sketchy. Don't worry about it.
Don't pay attention when you seize all of our emails to dark arts and or code breaking. And apparently the Jeff Luna, the GM, would sometimes come in and they'd mention dark arts and he'd just giggle. What the fuck is happening?
Oh, God.
Yep.
You're also giving it a lot of credit by calling it, quote unquote, elaborate, because banging on a trash can it's not super elaborate.
No, that part's not elaborate. The part of the scouts breaking the signs and then using the TV monitor from a special camera out in the outfield that was relaying it to the hallway so that someone could yell slider so that then someone could bang on trash cans when it's a slider.
Right.
There's enough steps and enough technology to be elaborate, but like the banging part is pretty funny. And they might have used buzzers. There's a rumor they used buzzers. I'm not going to say they didn't.
Yeah. It's a fucking mess, but everybody cheats. So they're just the unfortunate ones who got caught. So
yeah, it's pretty. The whole thing is pretty interesting. All the people that are talking about, they have you can bet on over-unders on how many times they're going to get hit by pitches this year. Like, it's fucking wild. 83.5 is the over-under number. The all-time record is like 103.
Okay.
I would go actually under. I don't think that there's going to. I don't think it's going to happen.
Game, come on, it's got to die off at some point. The umps aren't going to allow that.
Apparently, they've been warned to a point where Astros players are specially protected now, so that if anyone throws at them, that player can be ejected immediately without a warning, giving them like a different sort of advantage where they can't get. If a pitch comes inside and they just deem it suspicious, it's a different standard for Astros players versus others. So I suspect that everyone's going to shy away from hitting them just to not get thrown out of the games.
Can you imagine being like, I don't know, a rookie on the Astros now, and you have to live in like constant fear of getting pegged, even though you didn't play on the team when this was all happening? Like,
it's wonderful. I love scandals like this, and I love all of them. I love baseball scandals in particular, and I think this one is one of my favorites for a while. Like when the Cardinals cheated by hacking the database using
right, because they didn't change their fucking email address or password.
Don't change your passwords. Just leave them all the same. So good. Anyways, so talk about book stuff. Do you have anything that came up over the past weeks that you wanted to toss out there?
No, not really. I mean, I feel like the book world is still stuck in the endless discussion of Janine Cummings and whatnot, and yeah, I don't know.
So I do have one other thing because I sent this to you, and it is interesting. It is book related, although not translation related. But I did not know. So Paul Vidich is someone I've known for a number of years. We went to Bulgaria together as part of the Sozopol summer seminars, and he's written a couple of books, and he has a new one coming out called The Coldest Warrior, and he wrote an essay about it on the Daily Beast, and I found out that he is related to Frank Olson. That was his uncle, the guy that was dropped from the window for the wormwood.
No. It wasn't dropped or leapt or fell.
But there was a term that they use in the code book, in the CIA handbook.
Oh, I can't remember.
I think it was in the CIA handbook. I think it's dropped.
Dropped.
But yeah, he was either pushed, jumped, fell, dropped from the thing, and it's pretty clear that there was like something sketchy going on. He was involved in the CIA LSD experiments and a bunch of other stuff. And I know that you love the Wormwood biography or documentary or whatever you call it, the show on Netflix.
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times through now. I find it endlessly fascinating, and all of the MK Ultra stuff is pretty fascinating. So
it's super cool that this book is coming out about that too. I'm definitely going to read this like right away.
I mean, yeah, but I've already seen the Wormwood documentary. I don't know.
And this is a novel though, so I think a novelized version of it might be a different version of interesting to me.
Maybe.
Especially because you can put things in there that aren't proven.
Right.
And although Errol Morris does that a bit, like it's not always, he's pretty careful. It's careful.
Yeah. To an extent, I mean, he definitely takes some liberties, but yeah.
Yeah. But there could be things in here that are like rumors from the family that are now in fiction, quote unquote. So it's okay. That intrigues me. I love this stuff. And I think Paul's a really good guy, so I want to support him and think it would be great to read one of his books. I have a couple of the others, but I haven't had a chance to read them yet. But anyways, okay, so you want to talk about what we're going to do today?
This was your idea. You go ahead and introduce it.
Okay, so I came up with this is the idea, is that we would do a sort of preview of forthcoming books that we're interested in reading, but we do it in a way that would cause it to be a little bit more than just like, hey, here's a couple cool sounding books, blah, 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 all from our normal places. Instead, we're each going to draft 4 books, I think, depending on the time that this runs. from 4 different presses. You're not allowed to choose New Directions. I'm not allowed to choose anything from Open Letter or Delkey Archive. And then we will read all 8 of these books over the course of the time that they come out and discuss them and end up with some sort of evaluation of them. I don't know what that part will look like, but it'll at least force us to come back to these books and be more than just anticipated books that are like easy ones for us to point to, but something that we can then actually read and try and like and assess, and maybe even balance against like the hype in some direction.
Yeah, to me, I don't think there's any point in ranking them against each other. I think it should just be like, did it live up to expectations?
Yeah.
Yes or no, right?
Because
that's all customers care about at my store. Like, the book was not as good as I wanted it to be, or it was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
right?
But we're talking about all 8 at some point in time. Whatever, that'll be fine. So, you want to go first?
Sure. And I did this in order of when they come out. And I guess the other thing to talk about is like how we discuss these, because if we wait until all 8 are out, that's going to be like July. So I think we should probably do them as we individually get our hands on them. Exactly. Some of these, I don't think my first one, they don't do galleys, so I'm just going to have to wait until it comes out. And then the others I should probably get galleys for, I would imagine. Okay. Yeah. And so we can do them as they come out, as the galleys become available. So the first I chose is from Wakefield, i.e. they don't do the advanced copies, called Waystations of the Deep Night, publishing in April by French author Marcel Brion, translated by Edward Gauvin. And this is their description of it from the catalog. First published in France in the dark year of 1942, the story collection Waystations of the Deep Night remains the best known of Marcel Brion's numerous novels and stories in the vein of the strange and the fantastic. The journeys in this volume carry the reader through the surreal vistas of an underground city that appears above ground as a bizarre theater of facades and fire-ravaged landscape where souls turn to ash.
Oof. I love their books, so.
Yeah, they're one of the few presses where it's like, whatever they publish, like, we will sell, and somebody will find interesting, and they're guaranteed to just be weird and amazing.
Yeah, I mean, how long have they been around now? I assume that people listening to this are familiar with Wakefield, but maybe not.
They're maybe 10 years? No. About 10 years, maybe a little more. This is the pet project of an editor at MIT Press. So this is what he does in his free time, is go out and find these little books and find translators and publish them. They do like 2 or 3 a season, nothing amazing. All of them are fairly short. This one's long for them at 206 pages. So
yeah, it sounds really cool though. They always have like they have a lot of those metaphysical books too, and like strange like Flemish and French fiction that was like very overlooked or part of that period that not many people pay attention to anymore because they're all obsessed with like, or not we, but society is all obsessed with like bad auto fiction and whatever else, and American Dirt. But this sounds great.
Yeah.
In April is not too far from
April.
now.
So I'll probably get a copy of it, mid-April and read it when it comes into the store.
Yeah, they send us everything as it comes out, and sometimes it feels like they send them like a month or 2 in advance.
Yeah. Like whenever they're from the printer, they just send them, I think is how it works. So.
I think so too. Okay. So I am going to go with, I have a couple that I know you'll never ever pick, and these are intentional. And you're going to be fucking pissed about them. So I won't go with one of those first. Okay, the one I want to choose is from Europa Editions, because I don't read a lot of Europa Editions books. And there's a book, Mieko Kawakami's Breasts and Eggs, that's translated by Sam Bett and David Boyd. And I met Sam Bett some years ago at the Breadloaf conference and would like to read a book that he's translated. But the real reason I want to read this is because of these 2 things, which I'm very curious to see what this book is. One, Haruki Murakami blurbed it by saying, "Breasts and eggs took my breath away." So and then this very opening sentence of their description, challenging every preconception about storytelling and prose style. I'm sold. I want to know what that is.
All of them.
All of them. Every preconception about storytelling and prose style. Mixing wry humor and riveting emotional depth, Kawakami is today one of Japan's most important and best-selling writers. She exploded on this cultural scene as a musician, a poet, a blogger, and now a novelist. So it's about contemporary womanhood in Japan, of three women as they confront oppressive social mores and their own uncertainties, blah, 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 blah. But I'm just curious about this book because I don't... Japanese female writers tend to fall into a few different categories and tend not to get a lot of attention here. But Yoko Ogawa, I'm using the Memory Police in my class tomorrow, and I like her, and I've liked other female writers from Japan that I've read, like that. What's the Natsuo? Oh, what's her name? The one that wrote Out, the thriller books. Oh my God, I'm blanking. Natsuo, something with a K. Anyways, but I'm curious about checking this out. It's a book that's not like Europe Editions has because they have the new Ferrante coming out. They are set for life. So I'm curious when they take I don't know if this book's a risk for them because it doesn't fit their usual like crime stuff or the Italian stuff, and it's a hardcover. And I'm just curious about that. So I chose this one just to see what it is.
It's funny when I looked at this when I was doing research to pick books, and when I saw, so I had to look it up here in the catalog. I mean, for people who don't know, the reps who share these catalogs with us add their own comments about these books, blah, blah, blah. Whether they've read them or not, they just have these comments, right? Mm-hmm. And my rep says that this is, quote, heralded by Haruki Murakami as his favorite new writer. And I was like, next.
Yep. No, I have that same impulse because I'm not a big Murakami fan, but nevertheless, it's going to be one of those books that people will be like, oh shit, it's Murakami. So I like knowing that level of what's being talked about or read.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, we ordered this for the store. I think it'll sell for us. It's just not my kind of thing. So.
Yep, that's why I'm trying to push us into weird zones.
450 pages, man. Jeez.
It'll probably read like super fast. I'll bet you it's like barely like there's like no words on the page.
I don't know. What about all your preconceptions about storytelling being broken?
My preconception is that this is being marketed for a women's book club, and therefore it's going to be designed in a particular way. So
probably
they'll have to break that.
All right, I'm up, and I chose. Don't know why. Okay, book called Slum Virgin. Have you heard of this?
I have, but I don't remember why.
It is from Charco Press.
Yes, that's why.
Gabriela Cabezón Cámara, translated by Francis Riddle. And it is, all I read was the one line at the beginning of the copy. It says, a wild Baroque adventure in the margins of Buenos Aires where poverty, corruption, and gender identity meet a vision of the Virgin Mary. And then it explains that in the slums of BA, the government, the mafia, the Virgin Mary, corrupt police, sex workers, thieves, drug dealers, and debauchery all combine in a sweeping novel. Blah, blah, blah. Virgin Mary appears to Cleopatra. She renounces sex work and takes charge of the shanty town she lives in, transforming it into a tiny utopia. And at that point, I was sold.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Also a nice short book.
It seems interesting. I mean, Charco has interesting taste for sure. So I am this one I'm excited about. I think this will be right up at least my alley. 147 pages too.
I'm pretty sure this is one that already came out too in the UK and is one of the ones that they're bringing over now into the US.
I don't.
Their consortium because I've seen the cover before and I can't remember because I did that whole thing on them. Also, if Charlie Coombe is listening to this, I am so sorry. I interviewed her for a month of like Charco Press stuff and then forgot to do the interview entirely, and I need to do something with it and put it online. But I apologize to you. It's nothing about the interview. It's totally my fault for screwing that all up.
Okay.
That's just an offhand thing. But but when I was reading all the stuff on Charco and writing about them, there were a certain number of books that were, when I interviewed them, they talked about how they had a number that came out in the UK, and before they had US distribution, they didn't want to just dump all of those into the US market. So they're doing them like a couple each season. And I believe that this is one of the ones that was from that batch.
Yeah, I mean, because of the way that they got distribution in the U.S. and all of that, everything is weird for a couple of years for them. They couldn't just dump it all at once, right? So they had to space it out.
Exactly. So you might be able to get a galley of this like immediately, because I think it exists.
They're pretty good. Yeah, we get galleys from them pretty far in advance.
Caroline doesn't send us galleys. She makes me request them on Edelweiss.
Oh God. I mean, you're not a bookseller, so.
Yeah, but we review their books and write about them and help promote them. But alas, we'll read it on Edelweiss on my Kindle. Super fun. Okay, I'm going to do the New Directions book, since you can't. And I'm going to choose one that I don't know anything about, basically. It's an Inventory of Losses by Judith Schalansky. Oh, wait, this isn't translated, though, is it?
No, it's not. I was going to say, I have this galley literally in my hand right now because I brought it home last night and was just looking at it while I was waiting for you to call. It is translated.
Yeah.
German.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was. They don't have it on their website, but it's in my database. So, yeah, okay. I thought so, because I think that she has another book out that was from, like, Seagull or something some time ago. It's, like, vaguely rings a bell, like her name rings a bell. And I remember thinking that she sounded kind of interesting. The Giraffe's Neck is one of the other books. I forget who published that, though. It doesn't say online. So, anyways, this book is about a series of objects. It's 12 objects, right, that no longer exist. And so, an Inventory of Losses is a beautiful evocation of 12 specific treasures that have been lost to the world forever, and that, taken as a whole, open mesmerizing new vistas of how to think about extinction and loss. So, Atlas of Remote Islands is another one of her books, too. But this is called An Inventory of Losses. The cover is pretty bleak looking. Sounds like a good summer reading book, perfect for the beach.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta reflect on everything that's gone from the world now.
Well, we wouldn't have to if we weren't making so much of it gone.
Yeah, true. And man, I finished reading the and editing on Time and Water, and my God, yeah.
I saw that in the catalog, but then I thought, one, because you weren't taking open letter books, I didn't want to take one. And you are more intimately connected to the open letter books than I am with the New Directions book. Yeah. So that feels a little weird. Also, it's not fiction, so I just thought, it would be an outlaw. Yeah. We'll talk about it some other way. When does this come out? I'm seeing
June. But they always have galleys. I mean, they're pretty good about getting galleys out.
I mean, I have one already. So.
Yeah, you said, we haven't gotten our mail. We only get our mail on Tuesday and Thursday, and it didn't come yesterday, so cool.
I feel like I just got it. Or maybe I got it no, I must have just gotten it. Yeah, it's not with the stuff I brought home from Winter Institute. All right, moving on here. From Biblioasis, You Will Love What You Have Killed, by Kevin Lambert, translated from Quebecois French by Donald Winkler. Where is the actual plot summary? This is not helpful.
I'm getting there.
All right.
There is no plot summary on their website.
Hold on 1 second, because the one I saw in the catalog was far more interesting than what is on.
Okay, I have the catalog in front of me.
Way too complicated. But, all right, my rep's note was childhood victims of infanticide, which I'm not really sure how that works, rape and accidental violence in Quebec plot their revenge. Dark, transgressive, and queer.
Yeah, this also, here's the line for you. Fargo meets Michelle Welbeck in a Blackley comic coming of age that takes suburbia to task and then takes revenge.
There you go.
Yeah, that does sound cool. I didn't look through this catalog yet. I just started flipping through the whole consortium catalog because I'm going to spend this weekend entering all the translations into the database. So it's just I haven't been able to look through all of them yet. But that book stands out as like an interesting one. They're also doing a book, by the way, that's not translated called Lucia. That's about Joyce's daughter that came out in the UK from Gallybeggar Press some time ago, and I bought it when I was in Ireland, and it's pretty spectacular. So definitely worth checking that out too.
Yeah, I don't know if I ordered that one. It seems a little weird as a book, but Where is that? Here it is. Alex Phoebe?
Yeah, I don't know how you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
James Joyce's schizophrenic daughter. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's a little weird.
It's Joyce, man. It's gonna be fascinating. Yeah, but this Kevin Lambert book also won the 2018 Quebec Booksellers Prize.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, it does sound very.
That
cool.
comes out in July, and I don't know if I have a galley. I'd have to look through. It looks familiar, but I'm not sure.
I haven't gotten one yet. They usually send everything too, but haven't seen that yet. Anyways, okay, I'm up now, right? I'm gonna go with a book that I don't know if this is going to be great or not, but it's called The Law of Lines by Hyung Pyun. That's translated from the Korean by Sora Kim Russell, published by Arcade. She won the Shirley Jackson Award for The Whole a few years back, and the book called City of Ashes in Red. We tried to buy the rights to before any of her books came out, but Arcade had gotten The Whole, and it became very successful, and so we didn't get to publish The City of Ashes in Red. But it's an interesting, very surreal, very dark, very fucked up sort of book that's it's strange and fascinating in that way that a lot of like young female Korean writers are. And so this is her new book. It comes out, I think, in April too, in May. But I don't know too much about it. The main thing I know is that the PW review is kind of mixed, but it sounds, anything that she does, I want to check out. And I love Sora Kim Russell's translation. So I like Korean literature quite a bit. So I think this will be worth checking into. Did you read any of her other books?
No, I've never heard of her.
Yeah, it's surprising because they sold a lot of copies of the whole. I think they sold a significant amount of copies to want to continue on doing her in all these ways. But I don't actually know many people who know of it or of her.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm reading the plot and it sounds really good, and it seems like it'll be dark. And yeah.
I'm sure. So to read the plot a bit, The Law of Lines follows the parallel stories of two young women whose lives are upended by sudden loss. When Seo, a recluse still living with her father, returns from an errand to find their house in flames, wrecked by a gas explosion, she is forced back into a world she had tried to escape. The detective investigating the incident tells her that her father caused the explosion to kill himself because of an overwhelming debt she knew nothing about. But she suspects other foul play, blah, blah. Ki-young, a beleaguered high school teacher, receives a phone call that the body of her younger half-sister has been found. Her sister was a college student she'd grown distant from. Though her death by drowning is considered a suicide by the police, that doesn't satisfy Ki-young, and she goes to her sister's university to find out what happened. Her sister's cell phone reveals a thicket of lies and links to a company that lures students into a virtual pyramid scheme, preying on them in their relationships. And one of the contexts in the call log is Seo from the first part of the description. So it sounds cool. A little bit of criminal stuff, a little bit of violence. It's mystery. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Hopefully I can get a galley because $26 hardcover is. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I know. Hopefully, they'll get us a galley, right?
Hopefully. We get one, and then you can send it to me after you read it.
Okay.
All right. So I wavered a little bit here on the last one, and then because I couldn't choose, I was looking at a bunch of different things, and a lot of them were very obvious, sort of to my taste, and maybe that wasn't so interesting. One was Andreas Parva has a new book that is not being published by Transit. He got scooped up by Houghton, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it sounds really interesting. It's a novel about more children in Buenos Aires. Seems to be a theme here today. But I've already read two of his books, and this, why not try something else? So yesterday in my meeting with one of my Penguin Random House reps, she knows that I read, noir and things like that, and am interested in translated stuff. And she's always shocked that we order Joe Nesbo. And I was like, well, people ask for Joe Nesbo, and whatever, it's Joe Nesbo. I don't care. It's not like we order a huge stack of them, but we order the books, right?
Yeah.
And they sell. And so she said, all right, then you've got to take a chance on this thing, which they are pitching as the successor to the Millennium, whatever it is now.
Oh, yeah.
I was trilogy, but it's not.
Right.
But it's also the birth of what she's calling Basque noir. So I was like, all right, been to the Basque country. I think it's pretty cool. I'm curious. It's a book called Silence of the White City by Eva Garcia Sáenz. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, and I'm sorry. It's not even her full name, which they do have in her bio. This book is... So it's an investigation, blah, blah, blah. A series of ritualistic murders. The murders are eerily similar to the ones that rattled the cities of Vitoria 20 years earlier. Blah, blah, blah. A prestigious archaeologist was in jail for them, but now this detective must race to determine if it's somebody new or the wrong person was put in jail, blah, blah, blah. It's fast-paced, unrelenting thriller, blah, blah. So I have no idea what to expect of this. That plot sounds like 8 movies I've already seen and, a bunch of noirs that I read half of and got bored with. Who knows? I am curious. This is certainly something well outside of our wheelhouse, just in terms of just popular, I think it might be, versus some of the darker, grittier sort of noir that we usually read. So I'm going to force this upon us. It's a vintage crime Black Lizard original coming out in July. So
yeah, I'm there for it. I like Basque Country stuff, and I'm curious about this. And it's part of a trilogy, so if you like
there
it.
You go.
Is it translated from the Basque, or is it translated from Spanish?
Well, that's a good question.
Because if it's translated from Spanish, I might try and read the Spanish version of the second one or something. Or get the Spanish version of that one, because I've been trying to get better at reading Spanish stuff. And I think that crime novels are probably the best place to start for like learning things.
It appears to be Spanish because there's a weird annotation here right up at the top of the page that says originally published in Spain as El Silencio de la Ciudad Blanca.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Translation of the title by Planeta in Barcelona. So, yeah, guess she writes in Spanish.
Yeah, the best writers have like there's a same different time last year when I wrote about all the Spain things and wrote about each of the different languages. The Basque one, there's this fascinating book that was out about like 10, I think it's called something like 10 decisions that every Basque writer has to make. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of tongue in cheek, but it's about like the real trouble of like being a Basque writer and like how you can either write in your language or not. And that makes a huge difference. You can either write about like the area and the politics or not. You can do a lot of things that are like, that kind of categorize you as being Basque or being part of like that world, that like part of that aesthetic and that part of literary community, or try and be more worldly. But it was really cool. It's a really interesting book. But Basque things are very fascinating to me. There's a book that we've been considering. I keep going back and forth on a bit. That's a Basque book. That's pretty dark. But I'm gonna keep that off record for the moment. Cool. I'm down for this. And now you're gonna get pissed. I'm going to read you the description and then tell you what it is. Okay, it's 1937. Poland is about to catch fire. In the boxing ring, Jakub Sapiro commands respect, revered as a hero by the Jewish community. Outside, he instills fear as he muscles through Warsaw as enforcer for a powerful crime lord. Murder and intimidation have their rewards. He revels in luxury, spends lavishly, and indulges in all of the pleasures that barbarity offers. For a man battling to be king of the underworld, life is good, especially when it's a frightening time to be alive. Hitler is rising, fascism is escalating, as a specter of violence hangs over Poland like a black cloud. Oh, this is really cliched. Its marginalized and vilified Jewish population hopes for a promise of sanctuary in Palestine. Jakob isn't blind to the changing tide. What's unimaginable to him is abandoning the city he feels destined to rule. With the raging instincts that guide him in the ring and on the streets, Jakob feels untouchable. He must maintain the order he knows, even as a new world order threatens to consume him. It is a book called The King of Warsaw by something that's unpronounceable to me. I'm going to go with Sesapan Tharodach, that Sean Bai translated for Amazon Crossing. I asked Anthony if I should do this, and he said yes, so blame him. But I'm curious because I have read 2-3 Amazon Crossing books, and I know that we've talked about them a lot. There's a lot. I know what your opinions are on them, And I feel like reading one of their books, I'll buy it for you. You don't have to buy it, and give it to you. You don't have to have anything to do with it. But I feel like reading one of their books, especially this, which does sound like it could be pretty interesting, is something. Got a starred review in Kirkus.
I'm kind of impressed. I didn't realize that Amazon Crossing's books were in Edelweiss catalogs, and they are.
Yeah.
It's very strange to me. They're also on Ingram, wholesale, and I get a regular discount if I order them.
Yep.
Who is ordering them? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I was curious about like if their books ever, because there's that one that came out. I wanted to read the Icelandic book that Larsa Kaiser translated. Oh shit, what's it called? It's like of a hand or a fist or a hand or fist, heart or fist. I'll find it.
Just keep saying the word fist. That's not going to help.
Fist, yeah, A Fist or a Heart by Kirsten Eriksdotter. It won the Icelandic Literary Prize, and it sounds pretty cool. And we have a hardcover of it. Like they sent us a finished hardcover version to review, and it's in the office. I just haven't had a chance to read it myself, but yeah, I'm always curious like where those books end up getting, if any of the hardcovers end up being out in the world, or if they're just like, if I order a hardcover, it's like going to come just to me, but like there's not a store that will ever carry them.
Are they actually printed, or?
Yeah. Oh,
so what do you mean? Are they printed en masse, or is it print on demand, do you think?
So I have the book in front of me. It is hardcover. Let me see if I can find any information that would give this away. Published by Amazon Crossings, printed in the United States of America. It doesn't feel like print on demand. It feels like a normal book. Like nothing about it screams print on demand, and it doesn't have. So when Lightning Source does the printing, they have on the back page, the very back page, there'll be a barcode, because they use that barcode to match up the cover with the interior text. And this does not have that, which would lead me to believe that it was normally printed.
Okay. I mean, I guess they could probably do like 1,000 at a time or whatever.
Right. We just had to reprint fucking Sonnets to Orpheus, because we sold out of the first print run, which we did not expect for a poetry book. And because of the paper over board nature of it, we had to do 1,500 copies to get a normal price point. Which is insider nonsense that nobody cares about. But it's a book that that's a best-selling poetry book ever, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty funny. It could sell for a while. I mean, it is. People always buy him, so it's cool.
Right.
But yeah, it does seem like it's a normal hardcover. So I'll get I'm sure they'll send us. You know what's funny though? Let me tell you this.
There's also a paperback here.
Yeah, and I don't think we have the paperback. I think we just got this one in the mail. But this is interesting. So the price, how much do you think it is on Amazon?
Oh God, the hardcover?
Yeah, the hardcover list price is $24.95.
So it's probably 15.
$10.93.
Why? Why even bother?
$10.93 is like a crazy number.
That's really low.
It's a 56% discount. Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, this is I've talked to when I talk to my students about pricing, and we do like a bit of pricing things and a little bit of economic stuff with that. I tell them that like it is really interesting to look at what Amazon does for their prices for their own books, because it seems like they have more data than anyone else on like what price points are that have the high leverage that cause people to buy them. They have a lot of information, and one thing that I've always noticed is that all the prices are the same. Like all the list prices are identical. It doesn't matter the nature of the book, the size of the book, they're all the same. So it's $24.95 and $14.95 for the hardcover and the paperback. And then the Kindle version will be one of a million different things. Like this one's $0 or $4.99. It was so because you can listen to it for free if you have Kindle Unlimited, or read it for free, I mean. But yeah, so interesting. But anyways, yeah, so Amazon Crossing book translated by a friend, Sean. Polish. Sounds like it's got boxing. You like boxing. It's got Underworld. You like Underworld. I think we should try it.
It might be so cheesy.
Yep. But we don't know. Yeah. Nobody knows.
We don't know. Nobody
we've never taken the chance to like try
It
and
might be better than the Basque Noir. Who knows?
yeah. So like yeah, let's we'll give it a shot. I don't know. Were there other ones that you were considering? I can just throw
I
out here.
closed.
I had a
Shit.
few.
There was a. Hold on. Hopefully, I can find it fairly quickly. Go ahead with whatever you were.
There's two from New York Review of Books that are intriguing to me.
Oh,
One. What's that?
that's what I'm looking at right now. Because I didn't
Yeah.
want to name.
One of the ones was Marrow and Bone by Walter Kompowski, because I generally don't read a lot of German books, and it sounds like it could be okay, it could be funny, it could be fun, I don't know. It couldn't tell. And the other one, though, that I have at home, The Gallia, but I chose not to choose it because I think it doesn't come out until August, is Fragments of an Infinite Memory by Mel Renouard.
Not even
And it's
seen it.
nonfiction about growing up as with the internet, essentially, and like it's sort of in between like philosophy and essay and personal stuff.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
Yeah, they try a series of conjectures on how human experience, especially the sense of self, is being changed by our continual engagement with a memory that is impersonal and effectively boundless. And it sounds interesting to me, but it doesn't come out till August of this year, so that seemed too long.
So the NYRB book I was looking at was Diary of a Foreigner in Paris by Curzio Malaparte, Italian writer. And let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Journally kept while in Paris records a range of meetings with remarkable people. Cocteau, dourly unwelcoming Camus, among them. It's full of his characteristically barbed reflections on the temper of the time. It is a perfect model of ambiguous reserve as well as humorous self-exposure. There is, for example, Malaparte's curious custom of sitting out at night and barking along with the neighborhood dogs. Dogs, after all, were his only friends when in exile. The French find it puzzling, to say the least. When it comes to Switzerland, it's grounds for prosecution, which is true. Absolutely. Swiss do not have abnormality. Anyway.
I saw that, but they had an earlier title that was just Paris Journal, so I need to fix this in the database. Oh. And Paris Journal, I was like, I don't want to read that. I don't care about journals.
Exactly.
But this does sound pretty funny.
Yeah, this sounds like it'd be funny, but also just like not very adventurous in terms of our reading tastes.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right.
I was trying to look
and then, of course, the Jan Fosse book that you keep shaming me about being curious about. So.
Oh yeah, no, I think you'll probably like it. It's just I think that he's fine. He's good. He's a good writer. It's just like another. I mean, I've read so many of his books back when, and I don't think that they've changed that much. It's very much of like a very particular like male European sensibility that's like quasi auto-fictionalized, but not entirely, but like, and very repetitive and very slow, and it's perfectly fine, but it's like down the middle of the plate of like that sort of aesthetic to me, and I'm not super interested in that right at this moment in time. Sort of like, but I mean, it always changes. Like, I'm also sort of not really interested in like really gory, edgy Latin American writers right now, and I used to be. But now when I see that all of them coming out and they all sound vaguely similar and they're all sort of like, this is the edgiest, this is the craziest, this is the one that's the most vulgar, this is the one that's that, I'm just like tired. I just look at it, I'm tired. So but I think you'll probably like the Jan Fosse. I can send it to you if you don't have it already.
I have already.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But I thought you were going to pick that for sure.
Well, I was going to, but you shamed me for it so many times.
Shamed you. Yeah. I said support women, man.
Look, man. Hey, I just read, I'm trying to find it now because I want to make sure I get every detail right. But to recommend a book that people go out and find, but it's, of course, so obscure that I'm failing entirely. Do you know Wolfman books?
Ooh, no. I don't think so. Sure. Unless they're like one of those that I've come across and entered without thinking.
I don't know that they do translated stuff.
Okay, so it's just yeah.
Yeah, they just do sort of experimental small press stuff. And I'm looking, where is it? All right, yes. So I just read this book. It's a collection of essays about art and just our contemporary sort of relationships as human beings to art and like the way it sort of fits into our lives and all of that sort of stuff. And very, very, they're short essays. Like none of them is longer than like 10 pages, if that. And covers all kinds of interesting things like Anais Nin and Etel Adnan and the author's own life, sort of tiny little glimpses of that. And anyway, it's called Blank Sign Book by Anne Leslie Seltzer. And I plowed through it in 2 days. It's not very long, to be fair, but really, really like thought-provoking, interesting essay, if anyone can get their hands on it. It's, of course, after I read it, I was like, oh, I'm going to order this for the store and sell the shit out of this. And I went to SPD's website, and there were 8 in the warehouse, and I ordered all 8. So I don't know if anyone can order this right now. So
you can order it from their website. You can order it through Bookshop.
Website.
You can order it through Bookshop.
Yeah, but booksellers are not. I'm not sure are going to be able to order it for their stores. I emailed the publisher because we've been in touch about another book because we're hosting an event, and you have to hear back. So that was like a week ago. So.
Yeah, I'm not good at email either. Let's cut all the publishers a break.
Yeah.
Get a break on
the
email.
other thing I want to recommend while I'm sitting here doing this is you may have seen some Twitter mention of it by me or Brad from East Bay Books called Grabeland.
Yeah, didn't you talk about this last episode?
So good. It's so good. You need to get into it.
Yeah, we talked about this last time.
Yes.
Because it's by E-Team, which is impossible to find.
Yes. Well, Nightboat. Although Nightboat is now with Consortium, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, just because you kept saying it was E-Team, and I was like typing that in, and I was getting all sorts of weird shit.
Oh, right. Yes.
Because I couldn't figure out what Grabeland, how you're spelling that exactly. But now I do. Now I've got it. I was in the last podcast for sure. Oh, right. I forgot to tell you this. This came up yesterday, but when I went to grab the Amazon Crossing book, I also wanted to grab the Memory Police, but the Yoko Ogawa book, because we were talking in my class about representation of like the translator on stuff on this Quebec QC fiction book, and I was like, I'll guarantee you that the Memory Police doesn't reference Stephen Snyder like basically anywhere, and he's not on the cover, he's not in the jacket copy, he's not in the back with the bio, he is not on the copyright page. The copyright page for the Memory Police says translation copyright 2019 by Yoko Ogawa.
What? Really?
Yeah. And then the on the title page it says translated from the Japanese by Stephen Snyder. But the translation copyright says copyright 2019 by Yoko Ogawa, which I don't remember seeing that very often, if at all. We have it says under the Library of Congress, Catalog and Publishing, translated from the Japanese, but that's not enough. I know we have one weird one where when we do our books that are translated from Hebrew that are through the Institute for the Translation of Hebrew Literature, there are certain ones that they contract the whole translation and then it's copyrighted in their name and not the name of the translator. And I believe it's for like legal reasons that they by having that copyright, they're able to like sell the rights to the book and the translation without having to go through the translator separately. But it's weird to ever put that on a copyright page. But that's like an institution. This is like the author getting the copyright to the translator's work.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, if they paid for it, then they paid for it. But yeah.
Yeah, but
right?
With for the Institute one that makes sense, but I don't think that Yoko Ogawa paid Stephen Snyder to translate her book. I think Penguin did.
And then that is weird.
Or Pantheon. I mean, sorry, no disrespect to Penguin. Pantheon. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I don't know if one of my students thought maybe it was a typo, but I was like, that's a typo that you don't.
That's a pretty serious typo.
Yeah, that's a serious typo. There is no copyright of the book itself, though, either. There is. Sorry. Copyright 1994 by Yoko Ogawa. It's just hidden underneath a bunch of other words. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't know why that would be the case. And I interview him in a couple weeks, and I'll ask him. But and I'll update everyone. But it just came up yesterday. And I was like, what? That's crazy. And then they showed me, and I was like, oh, yep, you're right. Yeah, that is weird. Anyways, I don't have anything else. I haven't done anything. I've been sick. I've been watching McMillions, though, which is great.
I've been watching that.
Yeah, I haven't watched this week's episode, so But I read the article way back when, but I forgot most of it. And then this is like so much more detailed than I remember the article being.
When I saw it on, what is it, HBO?
Yeah.
Advertised, I thought it was truly just going to be like a 2-hour documentary. We'll just get the story out and done. It's like a 10-part miniseries.
Is it that long? I couldn't tell if it was like 6, 10, whatever.
Maybe it's less than that, but I mean, it's already 3 episodes in, and it doesn't seem like they're any closer to like bringing the shit down. So
it's wild. So you
really,
want to like explain it?
I don't know that I can truly explain it, but basically the story is that back in the like 80s when Monopoly was, the thing, like you would go to McDonald's and buy whatever and you'd get a Monopoly card. Basically all of the $1 million instant winners.
All the big winners.
All big winners, but especially like the $1 million instant winners were all sort of these Italian people from the southeast part of the United States, and somebody started investigating, and they discovered that basically there was like an organized crime sort of, like a grift, like a giant grift. Like you would, this guy would somehow get his hands on these pieces and sort of sell them to he would get a kickback basically for giving these people the $1 million prize winning, right?
Yeah.
And this went on for years and years and years. And so the FBI, I have to say, the really like kooky FBI agent.
I love that guy.
He's making jokes so often that he has to like tell the camera, like, by the way, that was a joke.
Yeah.
Like, because no one can tell.
I love when he's just like, I put one word on the board, Vegas. That's my favorite. He's like, I want to do undercover. And they're like, no, you're not doing undercover. He's like, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it like this. Oh my God, that show is wild though. And it's fast. It's really fascinating because it does. I didn't even watch the most recent episode, like I said, but the end of the last one was all about the security surrounding the game pieces and how they were printed at one place under like strict security there, transported through like all these different ways to like the place where they put them onto the boxes. There's all like double lock situations and like things where they're like a winning game piece would be in a batch of like 57 other pieces. So you wouldn't even know which one it was. And like all this stuff and like how they got those out and were able to do it is still like, I haven't gotten to that part yet. And it's just fascinating to see. And like the FBI people trying to put it all together. But when they're like, there were no legitimate winners for like a 10-year period.
Right. I mean, that's how they opened, like the opening credit is like there were no legitimate winners for a long time. The other thing I found interesting was that like McDonald's didn't really have anything to do with the management of all this. They outsourced, right?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's bizarre.
I don't think that it is though, because that's not like most of these places don't like they just pay a marketing company to take care of that shit for them.
Yeah.
That's what we have like 9,000 marketing companies now. What's that?
Right. But if you're on the hook for millions of dollars, you'd think you want a little oversight. I don't know.
I thought that I thought that this worked in this way, and I know that I'm wrong about this probably, or don't have all the details right. But I thought part of when you do these game things like that is that there's amount of prize money, but there's a lot of it that's taken out in insurance against someone winning. So like if someone does happen to win, there's like a part of it that you don't pay because there's like a likelihood that nobody's going to get that piece, that it's going to get thrown away, that's going to get lost, that's never going to be found. And so there's a chance that nobody will ever win anything. And so it's not always that you're paying the full amount. There's some sort of like insurance / hedging against it that goes on with like some intermediary. Yeah, exactly. With like some intermediary companies that sort of broker this so that you can have these crazy giveaways and you don't always have a winner. You just pay when there is a winner, and you don't always pay it all then because you're paying a company to sort of be in between. I don't really understand, but I read something about this once and was like, oh, it's a lot more complicated than like they put aside $10 million and hand it out. But they also, I mean, it's McDonald's. They've got money.
Yeah, no, they certainly have the money.
Wild. That show is great. Highly recommend it. Very cool. I also like Avenue 5 quite a bit. It's on there.
I've been watching it. I will say it's not like the greatest show in the world, but the joke about Hugh Laurie's accent is really good.
It lands every time. I love Jessica St. Clair.
So good. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Also, it's a show that just reminds me that we should just like fuck space. Space is terrifying. Space is absolutely terrifying. Anyways, okay. Anything else?
All right, I gotta go to work. So.
Good. I gotta go get ready to do stuff too. So I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, thank you.
Sadly